Today's Toy Spot, we're going to be starting our reviews of the DC Universe Classics Wave 7, which is also the Atom Smasher wave. Today's first review, we're going to be having a look at Figure 6, Captain Cold. The DC Universe figure line, sadly as it draws near its end, sadly it didn't have really a good variety of rogues. And by rogues I mean the villains that were the supporting characters for a lot of the superhero comics. Flash especially. We did get Captain Cold that I'm going to be reviewing today. Aside from that, I think we've got Mirror Master that was slated for subscription, which I don't know if that's still happening or not. And aside from that, I mean, there's Reverse Flash, but I mean, that's, like I said, there's not really much in the way of rogues from what I've seen. I mean, Batman, of course, has gotten a lot of his fair share of rogues, but not really a lot of love for some of the other superheroes. I also really love Captain Cold, so I mean, it's worked itself out perfectly that we at least, if anything, got Captain Cold. This figure does include a collect and connect piece, which in this case is not only the underoos, but the head of Atom Smasher. And on the back of the package, the other figures that make up this wave, you buy all 7. Not even collect all 7, but buy all 7. We've got Ocean Warrior Aquaman, which is simply just a repaint. There's Kid Flash, Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, Big Barda, Captain Cold, and finally the Flash. Variants that make up this wave. Not only is there a variant of Big Barda without the helmet, but then there's also a modern version of Booster Gold as well. The read-up says biography, Len Snart began his criminal career by concocting a ray gun designed to interfere with Flash's super speed. Instead, the weapon became irradiated accidentally, its emissions instantly freezing moisture in the air. Thus armed with his new Cold gun, Snart adopted the stylized parka of Captain Cold, which I think is a much better name than Snart. Sounds like he should be related to Snarf. A supervillain socializing in thefts and freezing solid any would-be pursuers, including the Scarlet Speedster. First appearance, showcase number 8, May 1957. Real name, Leonard Snart. Occupation, supervillain. Base of operations, Keystone City, Central City. Special abilities, Cold gun can freeze moisture in the air to create solid constructs of ice. Very nice. This is quite a beefy wave, by the way. Not only are you getting 7 figures, but you factor in the other 2 variants, you're looking at 9 figures. That's 9 figures that Spot's going to be reviewing, plus the Atom Smasher. Better get myself going. Got a long way to go. What I am going to do is take a bit of a break. I'm going to get this package opened up, and when we come back, we're going to get a better look at the first figure, Captain Cold. Stay tuned, my friends. Stay tuned. Before we actually have a look at Captain Cold, let's first have a look at the pieces that come with Captain Cold. The Atom Smasher pieces. In this case, we get ourselves the underoos, which, if you ask Spot, relatively small underoos. I wouldn't dare say that to Atom Smasher's face, but I'm just saying they're relatively small underoos. You also get yourself Atom Smasher's face. I'm not really a fan. I'll probably say this later as the figure gets put together, but I'm not really a fan of the visible mouth sculpt on the mask. That's just my preference. I mean, my opinion really may or may not mean anything, but I just would have liked if that was a little smoother, that we didn't get a definitive mouth outline, mouth impression. But anyways, you get 2 pieces. Atom Smasher clearly is far from being finished, so we're just going to move those pieces aside. We'll definitely get that worked on as the reviews progress. Let's have a look at Captain Cold. I can start by telling you the head sculpt on Captain Cold is very nice. Captain Cold, surprisingly enough, got the cold shoulder when it came to selling at stores. I remember many Captain Cold sitting on pegs. Nobody wanted Captain Cold. I flailed my fist walking in and out of the toy aisles, asking why, oh why, was there no love for Captain Cold? I generally got my response from little children looking at me saying, "Why are you looking at toys?" And then I immediately left the toy aisles. But yeah, no love for Captain Cold. I really can't figure out why. I guess he's one of those characters you either really like him or you don't like him. I've seemed to always have a soft spot generally for cold villains. Mr. Freeze, Killer Frost, of course Captain Cold, Professor Coldheart from the Care Bears. There's a really obscure reference right there. But I like the figure. I mean, there's aspects to it that could have been done a little bit better. But for starters, I think the face is really nice. I like that kind of grimacing kind of... I don't know what you want to call it. By the way, did anyone remember the Flash live-action TV show with John Wesley Shipp? They had Professor Cold in that too, but he wasn't as cool. He didn't have the parka. Oh, you see what I did? I said cool. Speaking of cool, he's in this nice ice blue coloring. I like the fur trim on his gloves, fur trim around his parka hood there. I even like the little string, which I think is a nice added touch. He is holding, and I use that term very loosely, he is holding his ice gun. Unfortunately, though, the peg, or not really the peg, but the handle, is extremely small on the gun. His hand is extremely large. You do the math, it equals a gun that doesn't really want to sit in his hand, which is a real shame. I think a Captain Cold without a gun is like, I don't know, a peanut butter sandwich without a glass of milk. Luckily, if you're worried about losing the gun, you can take the gun, and he comes with a little side holster. You just put the gun into place, and if you're still thinking to yourself, "Oh, Spot, that's going to fall out for sure," you can also take the holster here, and you can snap it closed. Not easily, mind you, because there's a little tiny peg and a little tiny hole. You add those two up and you got yourself trouble, my friend. Lots of trouble trying to get this closed. See, there's the peg hole there, or there's the little hole. There's the peg underneath. You have to have very small hands. Very, very small hands to get that closed. And you know what? I can't seem to get this. I'm just going to leave it. But take my word for it, it does work. It does work. There's the back of Captain Cold. Again, I really like the figure. I even like the fact that he's got treads on the bottoms of his feet, on the bottoms of his shoes. Just that little extra bit of traction. Captain Cold's articulation. He has a ball-jointed head. Despite the fact that he's got this hood on, he still has a ball joint. You can kind of raise the head, lower it slightly, and of course rotate it. He has a pin and socket shoulder. You can rotate the forearm, bend at the elbow, you can rotate the hand. He has the upper torso bend, a swivel in the waist, legs go forward and back, in and out, rotation in the thigh, bend at the knee, and finally, of course, the bend in the foot. Also, as a side note, the legs on my Captain Cold were a bit warped when I got him out, so I might have to try to just remold it. Not remold it, but just readjust it. But still, you can get some pretty cool poses out of him. I tell you, the real hindrance, though, the real drawback to this figure is just the fact that his gun doesn't want to sit into place. I mean, that's the real. I mean, that's a real negative for me. The fact that should be something that is a no-brainer. They could have easily have sculpted a bigger handle on it, but what do I know? I don't make toys, right? I should, but I don't. Captain Cold. Think of him as you want. You either, again, like the figure or you don't like the figure. I love Captain Cold, and I think they did a great job on the figure. Captain Cold, I'm going to give a 7.5 to. Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the very first figure from the Atom Smasher, I believe, which is Wave 7. Today we're having a look at Captain Cold. I thank you guys for watching. Of course, be on the lookout. There are more reviews for Captain Cold. No, not Captain Cold. He's done. But more Atom Smasher reviews on the way as we go through the entire wave. I hope you're excited. I know I am. But I thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.